My mother-in-law, Elaine, once asked me to help her make dumplings. It's a family tradition that helps save money and brings everyone together. I agreed and headed over to her house. When I arrived, Elaine was already in the kitchen, her hands full. I washed my hands and joined her at the table, ready to get to work. The kitchen smelled of flour and spices, and there was a certain coziness to the atmosphere that was comforting. As we worked, rolling out the dough and adding the filling, I couldn't help but notice that something had changed in Elaine. There was a playfulness about her, and she made jokes that bordered on teasing. I felt uncomfortable at first, but over time I got used to it. Elaine, it must be said, is not an old woman. She is lively, with bright eyes, and a slightly overweight, but undeniably attractive figure. Her kitchen seemed warm and inviting, but I began to doubt my self-control as I noticed more details about her. There was an energy emanating from her that was both calming and invigorating, preventing me from fully concentrating on the task at hand. Her hands moved quickly, skillfully kneading and shaping the dough. They were strong and confident, and I wondered what power lay behind them. As if sensing my thoughts, Elaine moved closer and pressed herself against me. The contact was electric, and I tried to focus on the task at hand, but it was getting harder. I was caught between the rhythm of our work and the unspoken tension that seemed to build with each passing moment. Elaine turned on some music, adding a cheerful rhythm to our work. She began to sway slightly, tapping her foot to the beat. At one point, she stood across from me and bent over the table to reach for something. Her robe shifted, exposing a little more than I expected. I tried to maintain a respectful look, but she caught my gaze. Her understanding smile told me she didn't mind. She acted so confident that it was hard not to notice, and her every gesture seemed deliberate and attractive. After lunch, the atmosphere grew heavier with unspoken tension. Elaine held out an oddly shaped dumpling to me, as if wanting to emphasize her point. I laughed nervously, but the gesture remained in my memory. When she leaned closer and her robe slid down slightly, I froze, unsure of what might happen next. The room grew smaller, the air thicker, as if everything was heading toward a moment neither of us could name, but both of us understood. Elaine, however, was brave. She brushed the flour off her hands and leaned in more, her laughter filling the entire space. It was obvious she was enjoying the game we were playing. Her confidence and the way she acted both excited and intrigued me at the same time. Before I knew it, the playful banter turned into something more. Her voice, her movements, even the light touch on my arm, everything about her seemed to attract me, and I found myself unable to resist. The kitchen table witnessed our connection. We were both caught up in the moment. Later we found ourselves laughing, disheveled but content. Elaine had changed into a t-shirt and shorts and brought us drinks while we relaxed. She was radiant, her energy contagious. Her husband, constantly away, didn't seem to be involved. I thought about how much she deserved to be cherished. It was like a revelation to see her in a new light, and I couldn't help but feel a mixture of emotions, excitement, guilt, and a strange sense of belonging. As the day turned to evening, we continued our work, laughing about how we had accidentally ruined the dumpling filling and would have to start all over again. Elaine suggested we take a break on the balcony, where the cool breeze provided some relief from the heat. She was smart, confident, and undeniably charming. We stood like that for a while, and the city sounds faded into the background, and the connection between us grew even deeper. There was something unspoken but undeniable in the way she looked at me, a mixture of mischievousness and tenderness that left me unmoved. The next morning I returned and found a packet of store-bought dumplings on the table. Elaine grinned and said it would save us time for more important things. We laughed and went straight to the balcony, pulling up the blinds for some privacy. Turning on soft music, we immersed ourselves back into our connection, oblivious to the outside world. The moments spent together seemed eternal, as if we were in a space that belonged only to us. Elaine was a wonderful woman, and time spent with her felt natural, effortless. She carried a mixture of humor and wisdom that made every moment enjoyable. As we continued our work in the kitchen, I couldn't help but appreciate her intelligence and charm. Life with Elaine was not ordinary at all, and I was glad to be a part of her world, even if only for those brief moments. She had a knack for making the ordinary extraordinary, turning a simple task like making dumplings into an experience I will never forget.